Hello and welcome back to my channel. I have another case from the UK chapter of the Microsoft Excel World Championship. This one called a Right Royale Battle Part 1. Now this was actually the first of two free cases that the UK chapter has put out. I solved this case a few weeks ago when they originally released it, but I didn't record a YouTube video at the time. And since I recently published my solve of the William Shakespeare case, which I will link right here, I thought I might as well go through, record a solve of this one to share it with you all on YouTube. Now, if you're interested in participating in this, the UK chapter of the Microsoft Excel World Championship is open to anybody, whether you are in the UK or not. I believe the only difference is the one who qualifies from the UK chapter to the World Championship Finals in Vegas has to qualify through the live event in London. But anyone around the world can play. I'll put a link for you to sign up if you're really interested. That link will be found in the description. But for now, let me go ahead and give this case a try. Now, like I said, I have seen it before. It's been a while, so I don't remember much. So I'm not going to quite list this as a first look, but do be prepared if I make a few mistakes here or there. With all that being said, let's give this a try, and here we go. So in level 1, what we have to do is we have to identify the house of the given monarch. And what do you see? The first things I do on this Kings and Queens tab is I unmerge that title cell. Merge cells tend to really negatively affect what I'm referencing, so unmerging that's going to make referencing much easier. Now level 2 is asking what year did each of these monarchs ascend to the throne. Now one thing about Excel is that Excel can't really handle dates earlier than 1900, and so these dates aren't going to work in your simple typical date format. And so what I had to do is I had to use the right function to extract the year number out of each of these cells. Now what you may have also noticed is I also multiplied this formula by 1, because when you use the right function, it takes whatever you're extracting, no matter if it's a number or text, and it formats it as text. I want to format it as numbers so I can do some math to it, so multiplying it by 1 will do that. Now level 3 asks us how many battles does each of these monarchs fight in. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to extract the number of battles by extracting the years of these battles. And I'm going to do that using this regex extract function. This is one of the newer functions in Excel. And when I type this /D and 4 in curly brackets, basically what's that saying is bring out every group of 4 numbers from this cell. A group of 4 numbers should be a year. And every time I have a year, that means I have a battle. And so this is going to help me identify how many battles each monarch has. Now in level 4, we are now taking the battle and we have to identify which monarch fought in them. This is a little bit trickier because the battles are listed within the cells. We would probably have to split those out and try to link them up with the monarch. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something a little bit differently. So what you're going to see here is I'm going to start a data table on this Kings and Queens tab. And this data table is going to take the game number and it's going to pull back the battle that I'm looking for. And so what I'm going to do is for each of these rows in this Kings and Queens table, I'm going to see if this name of this battle exists in that row. Now theoretically, this should only exist once per battle. And so what's going to happen is whichever one comes out true, that's going to line up with the monarch that I'm looking for in this question. And so once again, I'm going to use an XLOOKUP, look up true in this list, and then return the monarch from that original table. who remembers the plague? So now we have an event, and these events are on the timeline sheet, which is different from the kings and queens sheet that we were working with. And basically what we need to do is we need to take the year of that event, bring that out, and then identify who was the monarch at that time during that year. And so once again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do this in a data table. I'm going to look up that event in the data table and return the year of that event. Now what you're going to notice is I'm going to do my XLOOKUP backwards here. I'm used to going left to right, and so you see that I return the name, look up the year, but then return the name again. That's not going to work so well. I'm going to find that. I'm going to switch the B's and C's in this formula. And now once again, I'm going to go through my list of years and I'm going to compare them to the year of that event. So I'm going to do this in an OR statement because some of these monarchs had 2 reigns. And so I'm going to check the first reign first because most of them did have that first reign. I'm still struggling with my comparators when I'm looking for something within a range. In this case, I'm looking for a year within a range of years. But I'm actually going to be able to fix this one quite quickly in this sheet. I'm going to run into some other troubles though, because of course most monarchs don't have a second reign. And so I need to figure out how to account for that in this formula. So you see here, most of the monarchs are coming out true, which I know is definitely not right. I should only have 1 true. Now that I add this length statement, now I know that none of them are coming up true. So once again, I need to go through. I'm going to take a look at this manually. I'm going to check the monarch manually, check the formula within that, and see why this is not lining up the way that I intended. So here I'm going to troubleshoot by using the formula box. I see that first logical statement is coming up false. And I look closely and notice that the left side of the logical statement is not an absolute reference. It's basically moving down every time. So I'm going to turn all of these AA3 references into absolute references. Now I get 1 true statement, and now I can be more confident in this model to answer this level. All right, there we go. We got all 5 levels complete. Let's take a look at the bonuses. Bonus 1, there is a mistake in the battles common. One of the battles took place after the monarch that supposedly fought in it died. In what year did this battle take place? So now what I'm going to do is I have the 4 years of the battles for each monarch here, and I'm going to basically compare those battles with the year that the monarch died. And we are going to see what kind of results that we get. Now, one thing that throws me off is that, of course, some of these battles might take place in the second reign. So you see here for the 4th line, I get 2 falses and 2 trues, which can't really necessarily be the case. So I'm going to add this length argument in the statement, but when I put it in an add statement, what that does is it combines all the arguments together. That's also not what I want. I'm going to do this one manually because there's only 1 question. I don't need a perfect model. I find the first monarch, but the monarch didn't die. I found another monarch. That monarch did die. I'm going to check it manually. 1424 was after their death in 1422. And so I'm just going to type the year of that battle into this sheet. Now, bonus number 2 asks, which monarch in the list reigned for the longest period of time? And so this is really a simple math equation. I'm going to take a look at the difference between their 2 years of their first reign and also add the 2 years of their second reign if they have a second reign, and then just basically look up who's got the longest. Now to look up who's got the largest, I'm just going to do this XLOOKUP max combination. So I'm going to find the maximum value in that column, come back, return the monarch. That gives me Henry III, which is correct. Final bonus, which monarch or house was involved in the most battles? So here I've already brought out the battles. I've also already calculated the number of battles over to the right in this, let's say, work area. Now, I don't really have to bring out the houses here, but I'm going to do so that they're all right next to each other. I'm just going to simply reference that directly. And then below all this data, I'm going to create a group by statement. So this group by allows me to list the houses, takes the battles, sum them together, and I'm going to sort largest to smallest by the number of battles. That is the Plantagenet house, and that gets me to the solve of my case. Another really fun case by the UK team. I enjoy this. Harry, great job on this. I hope you enjoy this as well. If you do, once again, be sure to give me a like, give me a subscribe, take a look at the rest of my channel for some other interesting content, and I hope to see you for the next one.
It's the Excel.